Hello friends. So we're back with the second part of the video. We're going to be installing cool things like desktop environment, and another thing we need is a user account. So right now we've only got the root user. I actually went ahead and reinstalled this on a actual computer that I had laying around, so everything's the same except for this actually has networking. So everything's the same. It might be a different host name because I didn't go back and look and see whatever the host name I had, but this is it. So I have networking, like if I type IP space A, which is short for address, you can see I have networking there. I can ping things. I'm not secluded. I can reach out to the world. Anyway, so let's set up a user account. I mean, you probably want a user account, or maybe you want to be crazy and just run as root all the time. I don't know. The thing is, I don't think you can log into most desktop environments with the root account. I could be wrong there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whatever. I probably won't see, but I'll never run it as root unless I make some weird video seeing if I can. I don't know. And if I realize that I can't, maybe I won't even make the video. Anyway, here we go. So, to make a user account, what you're going to want to do is type user add. Seems simple enough, so we're going to follow that up with attack M. That means make me a home directory. And that directory is going to be at /home/ whatever your username is. But we also want to be in a group, right? So /g is going to be your main group. And I'll make that wheel because it's going to be easier for sudo access. And you can do things like with /big to add yourself to other groups, like if you want to be in the audio group, or you want to be in the LP group is a popular one, optical, video, if I could type, I don't know. You can add yourself to all sorts of things. I'll just leave it at that. That's fine for now. So you can specify your default shell with tac s, and I pretty much just run with bash /bin/bash. So anyway, at the end of this, you're gonna just put your username, and did I spell my name right? I did. So just hit enter. And now you have a user account, but you can't log into it yet because you don't have a password. Remember when we added a password with the passwd command for the root user before? We're going to do that here. Except for we're going to type our user account afterwards. Okay, now we have a new user account and we can log into it. But we need to do something in a different file, and it's going to be /etc/sudoers. We're going to go all the way down And since right under here it says the user privilege specification, the only user here is root. And we want to be able to run sudo, right, on our user account. Well, what I do is, well, the first thing you can do is uncomment this line here, wheel all, and it'll let you run sudo with that user account since it's in that wheel group that we added it to. But anyway, I don't like typing a password, so we're going to do the same thing without a password. We're going to save that. And for fun, let's reboot. Just type reboot. And yes, I'm on a Dell Optiplex 780. It's wonderful. Really good little computer for just all sorts of little projects and whatnot. Okay, so now we're back on the login screen. And we can type in our username. And our password, and now we are in our user account. So different things that require root access to do, like I can't do see, I can't do it unless I'm root, but if I put sudo in front of that, it lets me run it. And since I added the no password thing in the sudoers file, normally it would ask you for your password there. Just a thing. Okay, so now that we have our own user account, and actually I will show you that it made us a little home folder there too. So we got our little GenericEric home folder. We are going to work on installing a desktop environment because I know that's what everybody wants to do. And well, my preference is KDE. I love KDE. Lots of people like GNOME, or I'm sorry, GNOME. If you don't understand that, just hang around a Linux forum for a while or listen to Richard Stallman or whatever. It's actually GNOME. So actually, as a joke, like I add the hard G to everything now. Like I used to play World of Warcraft, and if I started a character, I have to start a gnome now, and I'll say, you know, like I'm playing a GNOME mage or a GNOME warlock. But that's besides the point. You don't need to know about my gaming tendencies or what I play or the lame stuff that I think is funny. Let's get back into installing a desktop environment. First, we're going to need an X server. And to do that, we're going to do sudo now, pacman, packS, because we're going to install something. And we want xorg and xorg server. Not xord. I'm glad actually, I'm not really satisfied with the whole Pac-Man thing the way it is. So I'm gonna just spice things up a little bit. I'm gonna uncomment color. And under here, if you put I love candy, it's just gonna make this that much more better. More better. More good. Anyway, what was I doing? S xorg server. Now, alright, default is all. Yes. And yes, we want all of that. And now we got a cool Pac-Man guy, which it's going so fast you can hardly see it. Anyway, and then add some colors. But if you can see it every once in a while, there's actually a Pac-Man eating up the progress bar, and that's the I Love Candy little Easter egg that they put in there. Okay, so now we have an Xorg server, and what we're gonna do, and I haven't decided yet. I think I'll go ahead and install KDE because that's my desktop environment of choice. There's all sorts of them. You can use. You don't even have to have a desktop, really. You can install a window manager like Window Maker, or i3 is very popular. DWM is really popular. Well, I don't know how popular DWM is, but it's really good and lightweight. There's just a ton of different things that you can choose from. Awesome window manager. I'm really talking about window managers. Anyway, the biggest desktop environments though are GNOME, KDE Plasma, XFCE. Cinnamon's a really good one. Lots of people coming from Windows like to use Cinnamon. It's the default desktop environment for Mint. My family, actually, most of them use Cinnamon, and they find it a really easy transition. So if you ever want to go out and be a, Linux, I don't know, evangelist, maybe you should recommend Cinnamon. And I'm not all about being an evangelist, by the way. I think people should use what they want to. If they want to talk about it, talk about it. Anyway, whatever. Let's get to installing our desktop operating system, which will be KDE Plasma at this time. So there's different like groups that you can install. You can install like Plasma-Meta or just the Plasma group. I'm just going to install Plasma because that's going to install basically the things that normal people want, right? So here we go. Sudo Plasma. And there is Wayland support. You can also install the Plasma Wayland session, but in my opinion, Wayland is really, it needs some work. and I don't use it, and X server works great. So we're gonna do this, enter, and I just use GStreamer. Yes, and it's gonna install all of that for us. Okay, and one other thing you might want to do here is install a driver for your graphics card, because that's kind of important when you want a graphical environment, right? So yeah, get rid of all that with clear. So if you want to identify your graphics card, you probably already know what you have. You can do ls PCI grep VGA 3D. Okay, so I have a little NVIDIA GT 710 here. So if you go to here, let me show you here. I think I can show you. Okay, here we go. So if you go here, you can see that this is the Arch Wiki again, and I can't stress enough, like if you're having any kind of problems with anything, the Arch Wiki is incredible. Like it's like ABC, learning the ABCs. So you go through here, and actually it takes you through like the Xorg stuff here. So, and this is the command we just ran to find out what our graphics card is, and then it tells you down here, you know, what different drivers or whatever you want to install there. I'm gonna install the NVIDIA proprietary driver because that's kind of what you do with NVIDIA. With AMD, I really like the open source driver. I actually recently just replaced my AMD graphics card with an NVIDIA. I replaced a Vega 56 with a 1080 Ti, and the Vega 56 just, it used a lot of power and it heated up a lot. And the 1080 Ti, it's still a great graphics card. I know they're coming out with a new one soon, but that's besides this whole point. Anyway, I'm gonna install the NVIDIA proprietary driver for this. So sudo nope. Okay. Finally. Alright, so the driver is NVIDIA, and let's install the utilities. Yes. Okay, and that was relatively painless. So now what we have is we have an X server, we have a desktop environment, and we have a driver. So now if you want that to automatically launch whenever you start your computer, sudo system control, you're going to want to enable, and for KDE it's SDDM, and you'll see that it created a symlink to userlib systemd whatever service, and that means that anything in that folder, it's going to just launch on startup. That's kind of like what you did whenever we were installing DHCP, and I didn't do until afterwards. Yeah. So now if I reboot this computer, it is going to start with a graphical environment. And just to prove to you, I am going to reboot. Das Boot. Hey, look, we got a little mousey there. Oh, and look. So what SDDM is this display manager. That's basically what it does. If you opted to do the whole Wayland thing, if you went up to here to the session, you would have Plasma Wayland session, which I don't recommend because it's not great. And there's our user. And we could enter our password. And we are going to be logging into glorious KDE Plasma, which, interesting enough, lately I've been updating Plasma, and it has been smaller than it was before. So like I would update, and normally, you know, you update something and it gets, you download something and it's bigger. Well, I downloaded something and then it shrunk the size of it. So it's getting smaller, and I think they're doing really well as far as features and, you know, just general usability. So, and there's our network manager that we installed before. It's saying that we have network and everything. That's awesome. And now we have a full desktop environment. You know, we can do whatever we want. Go into system settings. And this is kind of slow just because this is kind of a crappy computer. But all your settings, network connection, everything. And this is an entirely, you could do 100 videos on this. Just like, you know, if you want your theme to be different, which I'm kind of a dark theme kind of guy. Yeah, that's a little better on the eyes. This, you can style this as much as you want. There's all sorts of things you can, it's just endless what you can do. So basically with KDE, it is a Qt based styling desktop environment, but it also will style GTK based things. And if you want to do stuff like that, you go into, is this the right thing? No, it's not. Maybe it's, I can't even remember anymore. I thought it was application style. Oh, okay, here we go. So configure stuff for like GNOME or anything GTK related. Like there's a lot of applications that you might launch that don't take the theme that you created here, and they're probably GTK themes. So if you want to, you know, change those to dark, you can go ahead and do that, and then, you know, those will take on that theme. Anyway, I guess that kind of does it for this video. There's a lot of like default things that I don't care for. Like if you right click here, show alternatives, I kind of like just the application menu instead, because that just gives you like a regular, you know, if you're used to like things like old Windows 98, or I don't know, maybe XP had this kind of menu before, but it's a nice menu, and then you have the search here and whatever. But anyway, I guess the only other thing is that you're probably gonna want a web browser. And you know what? I did not install a terminal. Maybe when I installed Plasma, maybe I got that backwards. The meta package was probably what we wanted. It would have installed a bunch of different things. This is the minimal install, like just to use it. Let's do that. If you hit Control Alt F2, you're gonna go back to kind of what we were at before, the login screen. So log in as, you know, root or whatever. And I'm going to install console, which I don't really use console. I use ST, but that's, you have to compile it and everything. And this is a easy console emulator, terminal emulator, sorry, to install. So now we have console installed. You can Control Alt F1, And we'll go back to our desktop environment here. And those are called TTYs. So pretty much Linux works on TTYs. So now in our system we have console here, and we can get to our command line. So say we want to browse the web. We don't have a web browser. Not sudo. Sudo. Let's install Firefox. And yes, I do want to install it. Oh, hey, and you can see our nice little Pac-Man guy going across there. Alright, so Firefox is installed. Get rid of that. And it should show up in internet. Yeah, there it is, Firefox. Alright, so I wanted to at least get you to a point where you have a web browser and you can go to archlinux.org and search around in the wiki for different other things that you need, and you're obviously gonna come up with things that you really need, but different things like you know, like gaming, I actually really recommend going to the Lutris wiki, and that is on their GitHub page. If you go to their wiki, they take you through on how to set up a Linux install with gaming and what to install and everything. So first you should go to installing drivers. It'll take you through if you're in Ubuntu, which we're not. We are in Arch or Manjaro, whatever. Anyway, they go through, you know, kind of what to do with all that. And with DXVK and eSync and all that, and if you play these different games, it's a really great source to go to. Anyway, with pretty much everything though, you should be good with like the Arch wiki, and you know, you can search things, whatever you need to do. I've gone way too far into this for this particular video, but I wanted to get you set up at least with like a web browser. There are other things that you want to do. Actually, we should really install an AUR helper, because that is kind of really basic to Arch Linux, having access to the Arch user repository. So what the Arch user repository is if it's not available like specifically for Arch, somebody out there is taking care of it, and there's this whole repository that, you know, if I don't know, whatever app you can think of, say the Discord app wasn't available for Arch, which I believe it is natively, but if it wasn't, if it was just available for Ubuntu, somebody goes out and gets the Ubuntu install and basically just reconfigures it to where you can install it as a regular package in Arch. So let's install my favorite AUR wrapper, which is Yay. Oh god, I'm using Google. This is terrible. So anyway, you go to their GitHub, and down here in their README, they take you right through it. You're actually going to have to install Git for this because we are on Arch, and Arch is mostly minimal. So if you launch a console, we're going to do sudo pacman. Let's install Git. Because, be honest, we're going to need that anyway, right? Alright, and usually, you know, whatever. We're just going to copy paste this. You know, and neat trick, just click the middle mouse button and it'll paste it. Now we got that. We're going to cd to yay. And we're going to just follow their directions here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and install Go. Okay, so we have yay installed now, but that's not the end of it. We do need to edit another file. So we're going to go back into the pacman.conf config, you know, where we added that cool bling bling like color and I love candy. We're going to go way down. And right here where it says multi-lib, we are going to uncomment that, get rid of those pound signs, and save that. Okay, now we have yay functionality. So you can use the yay command. So if I did yay tac syu, which is sync and upgrade, that's going to do basically the same thing as pacman, but we have so much more access to other different to the AUR. And if you want like a graphical version of this, I've used Pamac before. I think that's what they use with Manjaro. So you could do like yay Pamac, and it'll come up with all these options for you. So say I want to install Pamac, I'll just type 1. I'll install Pamac with the AUR. Sure, why not? Remove make dependencies. A lot of times these make dependencies are going to be used for other things, but yeah, I'll go ahead and remove them. Diffs to show, none. And yes, let's install it. So some people don't want to be hanging out in the terminal all the time, especially when installing packages or whatever. I find it easier just to install packages and upgrade with the command line, but you know, some people want to use their mouse, click around. Okay, so PAMAC is installed. And we don't need the terminal anymore. What are we gonna need the terminal anymore when we gotta... So if you go here, it's gonna be AddRemove Software. And this is PAMAC. So this is probably closer to the package managers that you're used to if you use like Ubuntu or something like that. There's the Firefox that we installed earlier. It's gonna pick up on all that, and it's gonna, you know, you can search for anything. I mean, click the search button. I mean, if you want whatever, let's say you want GIMP. There's GIMP. You hit install, apply. What is all this? PDF, PostScript, whatever. I don't know. And then it's going to ask you for a password, and that's asking for the root password. You type in your root password there, apply that, and now look, it's down here installing it. You can hit this little button to see its progress. And it's finished. I think it's downloading. Almost, yeah, there it goes. Hey. So now if we go to our menu, probably in somewhere. Huh. Graphics. See, now we got GIMP. It's beautiful, and I know I've said this before, but this is way beyond the scope of the video that I thought I was gonna make, but you know, here we are. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you out. I hope to be making more videos on, you know, other things you might want to do. You know, normal people want more than a web browser and GIMP, and you know, I got faith in you if you've made it this far that you can kind of figure things out and search and use DuckDuckGo instead of Google to protect your privacy, of course. Anyway, but I guess I'll keep at it, you know, certain things that I feel like doing, maybe with networking. I'm a network engineer, so this is not my first love or anything. Whatever, I'm done.